Welcome to the Apple Pie Club. We're here to take you on a thrilling journey through the realms of practical philosophy and spirituality. I'm Skye, your spiritual guide, and I'm joined by Tanya, your practical philosopher. And our aim is to offer you a holistic perspective on life, blending insights from diverse philosophies and spiritual practices. From personal growth to timeless wisdom, we'll cover it all. So whether you're a seasoned seeker or just starting on your journey, join us on this adventure. The Apple Pie Club is open to all, and we can't wait to have you along for the ride. So grab a slice of apple pie, the recipe is in the notes, and let's dive into this world of ideas together. And our quote today is from Lao Tzu. The snow goose need not bathe to make itself white. Neither need you do anything but be yourself. Tanya, if only I could have known this when I was growing up. If only I could have believed it. In fact, I think that this is something we need to teach every single child from the moment they come out of the womb. The snow goose need not bathe to make itself white. Neither need you do anything but be yourself. That's who you've come here to be. That's who you were born to be. And for years, myself was not good enough. Myself wasn't perfect. Myself wasn't someone I wanted to be. So I spent years trying to be someone other than myself. I don't remember really wanting to be exactly like someone else. I just know that I didn't want to be me. I compared myself to others and their qualities I didn't have and their attributes I didn't have. And so mine weren't good enough. And I was not as attractive. I was not as intelligent. I was not as athletic. I was not as good as. I was not as fun as. I was not as brave as. And now I look back at those times and I realize that, I was gathering a whole lot of experiences. I didn't have to be this incredible intellect in this one area. I didn't have to be this athlete that was going to go off to the Olympics in this area. I was gathering a whole range of experiences that have helped me today. So what do you think about this quote, Tanya?
I'll go back to when my son was at school.
Uh-huh.
I took a program in there called Color Yourself.
Oh, great.
So had like a blank image of there was a female robot and then a male one. Probably have to have a few different versions of that in today's life, but we had the female and the male, and then they had every child had 4 colored pens each. One was orange, blue, yellow, or green. And then I went through a series of questions. I said, what books do you prefer to read? Do you prefer adventure? Do you prefer like history? Do you prefer friendship? Or do you prefer sportsy stuff? And I kept going through, and each, depending on what they selected, they were to pick up the associated color pen and color in like the eyes, and then the hair, and then the face, and then the arms, blah, 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 blah. And the purpose of it is for each of the kids to all stand up in a row in front of the class, and all of their colors would be different colors.
Yes.
Because it was about valuing and appreciating who you are.
Wonderful. I love that.
You don't turn around and compare yourself to another person. Don't wish you were more like them. Don't wish that you have different color hair, because that's damaging for your self-esteem. Look at everybody's colors, and they're all different. Don't ridicule somebody else for the way they are. Just value and appreciate that we are all different, and value and appreciate yourself.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
And it was, and that went in, I took that in at year 2. So the kids would have been 7 or 8.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Worst. And hopefully that kind of stuck with them, that who knows. But at the time, it was very powerful, and it removed any comparison and removed any bullying. But when I look at this quote, I'd say for me, the most difficult time I had with being secure of who I was actually quite old. It's when I first gave birth. I don't know why I felt inadequate as a mum.
I think,
I only had one child
yeah.
for various reasons, but I only had one.
Mm.
And they put you into this mother's group.
Mm.
Did you have that when you had kids? You got put into this mother group with other mothers?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Now, I don't know whether I didn't gel with them
Mm.
or but I just did not enjoy this mother's group. I didn't enjoy it at all. Because it seemed to be very competitive. So it's like, oh, my child's just picked his head up before your child. And it was just it just used to drain me so badly
Mm.
that I found that I started changing to try and enjoy
Mm.
it. I don't know if I was trying to blend in,
Mm.
possibly.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is I really didn't enjoy it. So I would become this different person when I was with them.
Mm.
And even when I was older, my son was very picky with his
Mm.
food. I would parent in one way at home. And then when other people whose children were all eating their raw vegetables and salads, and I couldn't get my son off chicken nuggets and chips, I found that I parented him different. And he's looking at me.
Mm.
I can remember even pinching him under the table once
Mhm.
and he yelled at me, "Ma, don't pinch me." I just felt like so that was I was not living to this
Yeah.
quote at all. I was
Yeah,
trying to be something I wasn't.
yeah, I
And
think
that happened in my
we've
30s.
all, yeah, we've all been there in some form, in some way, where we've, tried to be a chameleon and change our
Yeah.
colors, change who we are, in order to fit in order to belong. But I was thinking about this quote, and I'm thinking about how all of us do that because we look at ourselves from the human form and the human form only. But if we really start with our quote from Socrates when he said, "To know thyself," we have to realize, and we start that we are actually, as we mentioned, have mentioned so many times before, we are all part of a bigger picture, of the divine picture. And so I want to talk at this point about the law of divine oneness. And this is the first of the 12 universal laws that states that we are each sparks of the divine. And when we realize that, we cannot not love who we are. The problem is we don't know who we are. And so we fall in love with, we try to fall in love with our earthly form and our human form. And our human form is going to fail and make mistakes and mess up, because every single person does, because that's what we came to earth to do, to have these experiences. But when we fall in love with our divinity, that's who we really are. And that's who each one of us is, a part of that spirit. And it's so much easier to realize we can fall in love with our higher self, our eternal being, that that person that is part of that greater divine picture, that divine oneness. And it's not religion, it's spirituality and metaphysics. And everyone and everything is intricately interconnected with each other. There is no separation. So when we begin to realize that we're part of each other, we as you shared in the beginning, each of our colors actually makes the other person's color brighter, better, just different, and
Equally as important.
equally as
Yeah.
important. Just, yeah, these are my colors, those are your colors. And that's in our human form. But in our spiritual form, in our divine form, we are one. And everything I can be on here on this planet can add value to you, and everything that you can be here on this planet can add value to me. So I love this idea of going back to these original laws, the universal law of, let's look at this quote. We just have to be ourselves, because we're not really, let's stop focusing on trying to love our human form. Let's focus on who we really are, spirit beings. And we can so easily love our spirit beings. And I can love your spirit being, and you can love my spirit being, because our human forms are, we're going to mess up till the day we die. We're never going to be perfect, because that's
100%.
not what we
Yeah.
came here to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think unless we reach that realization of the spiritual form, I always think of Bob Marley as One Love when I think about that. I
Yeah.
love the lyrics in that
Yeah.
song.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's difficult to maintain your peace and your happiness because if going back to what I was talking about, by not being yourself, and if you're in a situation where you feel around certain company that you're not yourself, that you have to change,
Mm, mm.
I could guarantee you don't enjoy that relationship. You don't
Absolutely.
enjoy it. You don't enjoy being in that space. You don't enjoy that environment.
Mm, mm,
And for our own sense of peace, well-being, love and self-fulfillment in this life,
mm,
you want to start getting to that oneness, which you can get through, through meditation and becoming and
mm,
pausing and
mm.
being more mindful and less judgmental and everything else we've spoken about in all of these episodes, and we will carry on speaking about.
Yeah.
The Apple Pie Club will help you get there, I guess, won't it?
I
By
believe.
taking
Yeah.
what we were saying and
Yeah.
applying some of our tips and meditating with
Mm,
some of the meditations that we put out there.
mm,
The more you do that, the more you participate actively in some of the conversations that we're having,
mm,
the easier it is
mm.
to not have to change who you are.
Yeah, I love that because, I have to admit that I got to the point where I didn't even know who I was anymore.
Mm,
I didn't even know, what I liked and what I wanted to be. And this whole dilemma we all have about purpose, trying to
mm.
find our purpose and trying to find what it is we're supposed to be doing on this planet. Because, in the end, just love your life.
Yeah,
Just live your life. There's that wonderful quote by Howard Thurman that says, "Don't ask what the world needs. Just find out what makes you come alive and go and do it, because what the world needs is people who've come alive." And so really it's a matter of peeling back again, peeling back. We spoke right at the very beginning about these layers of the onion,
yeah,
actually. And it's peeling back all of these layers of society's expectations of us.
yeah,
And how does society now, of course, there's moral and ethical expectations that we all have, certain ways we all need to behave for a happy, safe environment on our planet. But yeah, it's certainly a matter of discovery and working out who I am in relation to everyone else, who I am in relation to my work, and I think I can finally say I'm at myself when I'm at work. I'm myself when I'm at home. I'm myself when
that's
I'm
great.
with
Yeah,
friends. And I honestly have this feeling that, look, the reality is not everybody's going to like me.
yeah.
Not everybody's going to feel I'm their cup of tea. In fact, it was really funny on this weekend. I just spent a weekend doing like a weekend retreat, I guess, on the universal laws, which is why I'm so passionate about talking about them right now, and applying them to my life. But there was one woman there, and I could tell she didn't like me from the moment she saw me. Like we had not even had a discussion, and it was so funny because at lunchtime, the second day, I decided I would talk to her. And so I had started to have a conversation with her, and she instantly misunderstood something that I said. And she called her friend over and she said, "Oh, Skye said this and this." And I just politely said, "Actually, no, I didn't say that. I said this." And by the second time she had done that, I used the word kinship, and she said, "Oh, it's not kingship." I said, "No, I didn't say kingship. I said kinship, which means family." And I actually wanted to say to her, "What exactly is
What you're doing here.
that you just really can't stand?" Because I just walked into the room, and it was a room of about 30 people. And I didn't in any way, like, I could understand if I was a big mouth and answered all the questions, but I didn't. I never answered any questions. I
That's
just sat
strange.
in this group. I must have looked like somebody she didn't like back in the day.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, and I think that's where I was really remembering that phrase that I was told. Ask yourself, I wonder what happened to you today for you to behave like this, and
mm,
I was thinking, I wonder what happened to you for you to really dislike me before you even know
yeah,
me.
yeah.
But what's so wonderful? It didn't worry me at
You
all.
didn't take on her presence. You
I
said, "No, I
didn't
don't. I'm not
take
taking
it.
that on. You can have that back. Thank you very much. That's got
I,
nothing to do with
exactly.
me."
I didn't take it personally at all. And you know, that's when you look back and you realize how much you've grown. And actually, Marissa Peer once said, she said, if somebody gives you a gift, the only way you can take the gift is to, reach out, grab a hold of it, and take the gift. And they say,
Yeah,
thank you. Now you have the gift. She said, but
yeah.
if you don't want to take that gift, you just
Mm,
say, no, thank you. You leave it with the person. She said, it's exactly the same with everything else. You
mm.
don't have to take it on board. You can
Yeah,
say, thank you. I'll leave that with you. And so I was able to say, thank you. I'll leave all of that that's
yeah.
going on
I
with you.
don't need your anger.
I
Thank you
don't,
very
I
much.
don't
I
need
don't
the
need your
judgment.
judgments, but
Yeah,
thank you.
that's yeah,
You
yeah.
can keep that.
Yes, you can do that. So, yeah, so it really was wonderful to be able to know I could just be myself. And being myself isn't that everybody's going to love me. No, but
Yeah, yeah,
it doesn't matter. You know,
yeah.
those obviously those that are really close to me, if they're going to come to me and say, Skye, you know, if you did this and I just really think that maybe you shouldn't, I'm going to listen because, you
Mm,
know me, you're in a relationship with me. And so I'm going to think about maybe changing my ways a little bit or with the way I do something. But somebody who doesn't know me at all or doesn't, has just met me, it's not going to worry me at all.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I love this saying, we don't have to bathe ourselves to be white. We are white. We are
Mm,
pure white. We are pure
mm,
love.
mm.
And as you know, my favorite book these days is The Breakthrough Experience with John DeMartini. And he says, on the continuum is love and fear. And when you stay in the center, you're not swayed by love. Oh, because these people love me. Well, the next day there's going to be a group of people who hate you. So you're not up and
You're on
down.
that roller coaster, aren't you, by being reactive to whatever is happening to you at the time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. You just stay centered, stay in the center.
yeah,
You acknowledge when people are grateful for something that you do, where, okay, those people love me, and you can acknowledge when people don't, but
yeah,
just stay focused in the center. Be yourself, which is what this quote is saying. You don't have to do anything to be
yeah.
yourself. Just be
But
yourself.
what a wonderful experience for you to have that over the weekend. Don't you think? Because it really brings everything back to what we're talking about.
It was fantastic. And,
Yeah.
again, back to Joe DiMartini and his positive and negative charge is that when you realize that you have to have both the positive and the negative. I'd had a great conversation with the presenter that the previous day, and just talking about some of these laws and how I had actually just said a few weeks earlier, I want to learn more about these laws. And up came this weekend
Yeah.
free
Lovely.
weekend about it. So, you have to have these positive experiences and these negatives to keep in the equilibrium, to stay in
100%. Yeah.
equilibrium.
Yeah.
And that's when you stay yourself.
And that's what you did. You actually remained true to yourself. You didn't change. And like you say, you realize how far you've come.
Yeah.
Even when I was changing, when I was a young parent, I knew better than that. I was working in this space,
Yes.
but I was still doing it. So everybody who's on their journey and on
Yes.
their own path, you're still going to make mistakes, right?
Of
Don't
course.
beat yourself up about it.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
just keep
Exactly.
evolving and learning and checking in and, pulling yourself back in when your own thought processes going a bit crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I have to admit, I'm making light of it, but it has taken me a long time. It's taken me a very long time to get to the place where I remember this actually happening. I would constantly, I wasn't aware of it until it stopped, but I was constantly having these conversations in my mind. Did I say the right thing? And looking at their facial expressions, did they understand? Have they misunderstood? And if they look a bit strange to me, I'll explain more. And I was just constantly
You must
every
have been
situation.
exhausted.
It must have been, actually. It must have been exhausting. But it was only about, I'm thinking now, 15 years ago, I
Yeah.
was on a week-long residential retreat with Heal for Life. I was doing overcoming childhood trauma. And it's a wonderful retreat, actually. You give them your phone and no social media, no phone, no contact with the outside world. It isn't a silent retreat, but we have these workshops. And one day we were sitting in a circle and I was sitting next to this woman and we all got up to have a break. And as I came back into the room, I noticed that somebody was sitting in my seat. Now that's when I would have gone, hey, that's my seat. That's like, the all of this dialogue in my head. Okay, now
Yeah.
where do I go? And now what do I do?
Yeah.
And now, but what do I do now? Yeah, she's sitting in my seat. And I saw an empty seat and I decided, all right, I'll take this one. Such a simple little action. And as I sat in this empty seat, it's like something, it honestly was some major breakthrough experience for me. And that's when this dialogue in my head stopped. And for the next hour or two, I just noticed this clear head that I had. And it was obviously I was ready. The time was right. It was the strangest experience at this retreat. But when the dialogue in my head stopped, it's only then that I noticed that that's how I had been living my life my whole time, trying to make sure that I was okay with everybody, trying to make sure that everybody liked me, trying to make sure,
I'm so glad you worked through that one. I wonder if anybody else thought about that when you sat in their seat.
I
It was like
I don't
musical
know.
chairs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know, but it certainly
I
was.
like that story because I'll tell you what I do if I've got in a training room, I purposely go and sit in another seat because I'm aware that I'm already forming a habit.
Yes,
And I'll break it. So I'll go and sit
yes.
somewhere else. Think I've already sat over there. I'm going to go and sit over here now.
Yeah, well, you just ruffled the feathers of so many people.
Confuse everybody.
Who are so, yes, have gone in and said, oh, I sat there first. That's my seat,
Because people get so settled into their ways very, very quickly, don't they?
Sure.
Yeah. But when you change seats, even around a dining table, you see a completely different view of the room. So you see a completely different view of life, don't you? You just keep changing.
It's a wonderful way to remind you about yourself, about who you are, and to just simply be yourself.
Yeah.
So again, we all, I have to talk about balance. So we're not talking here about some kind of aggressive behavior of, oh, this is me, everybody love me or hate me. And you look at these people and think, man, you must be alienating half the planet.
Yeah.
So we still have to have the sense of awareness.
Yeah.
And I love the saying. I'm going to give the saying. There's the saying that says, if one person calls you a jackass, ignore it. If 10 people call you a jackass, go out and buy a saddle. So, you listen to the majority. If one person's upset with you, okay, but if you're getting, having this experience over and over and over, then create some self-awareness and create some action steps to actually make some changes in your life.
That reminds me of Tasha Urich's work. She'd done a PhD on the study of self-awareness and what it actually is. Yeah. And it comes straight back to your point. I think and I've seen this with people who have studied spirituality, they've become so aware of who they are that they've forgotten to address the second element of self-awareness, which is equally important, which is how are you coming across to other people? And we've got to be aware of, not only as we're growing, are we still coming across in a positive, effective, kind way to other people as you're evolving up the spiritual ladder and other people aren't?
I would like to think that those who are truly delving into spirituality rather as opposed to religion are actually embracing that, the kindness and the compassion and the ability to, as Socrates said, know thyself, to understand. And it's also part of being yourself is also, and knowing yourself is part of realizing, okay, I've been a little bit irritated the last few days because there's something really big going on in my life right now, you know. But that's no excuse. I said to someone the other day, what I learned at Heal for Life, actually, there's always a reason, there's never an excuse. So it isn't an excuse to be irritated and short with everybody. It's a matter of me to realize, okay, I'm just getting a little frustrated because this is becoming difficult for me to handle on my own. And so that's part of knowing yourself and being yourself. It's being compassionate towards yourself as well, and yeah, having that awareness around yourself as well. But it doesn't mean I need to go and the snow goose is still white. The snow goose is still white. We live in a human body. We experience the whole range of emotions. We experience the fear, we experience the negativity, we experience the anger, we experience all of those on the same continuum. And as long as we stay as much as we can in the center, it's okay to actually have the times when we are going to experience that whole range of emotions.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're all human.
End of the day, that's what the human experience is. That's exactly what the human experience is.
Yes. Okay, well, this has been another fascinating conversation. What's your tip for the week?
All right. So my tip for the week is going back to the law of divine oneness and how can we apply this into our lives? And it's exactly what we've just been saying. Be kind and have compassion, first of all, for yourself and then for others. Because remember that all of our experiences are intricately connected to everyone else's experience, our own and others. And so to cultivate mindfulness in this understanding of the power of the choices that we make, our thoughts and our intentions that shape our reality and influence others. So remembering that we are one and everything that we do affects the whole.
Beautiful. Okay. And my tip for the week is going back to my experience. Start recognizing when you're not being yourself and consider why you're not being yourself. And can you do anything about it when you are pretending to be the person you're not? Can you change it? If you can't change it because you find yourself in this situation or environment or around people that you must be around, there might be a parent or something like that, and it's having a negative impact on you, can you limit the amount of exposure you get to that situation? That's my advice. It's
great.
so that
That
you
goes
start
back to
protecting
choices
yourself.
again. Yeah, it goes back to choices again. You know, what choices can you make to make sure that you're yourself, to be yourself?
Yeah, 100%.
Great.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining us. Again, we're doing a meditation for those who want to stay. Then get ready. And for those who don't, have a wonderful week. And don't forget to practice our tips. The more you practice, obviously, the more enjoyable your life will become and the closer you get to oneness. Okay. So should we go with the meditation?
Yeah.
Right. So begin, guys, and close your eyes. Make yourself comfortable. And take a deep breath in. And pause and let the breath out. And as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, you can feel your body relax more and more as you settle in to this present moment. I want you to begin by focusing on your breath. Inhale deeply. Feel the air filling your lungs. Take it deep into your lungs and then just pause for a moment before you exhale slowly. And with each exhale, any tension that you might be carrying, it's just disappearing. And as you continue to breathe in deeply, pausing and slowly releasing the breath, feel yourself becoming more grounded and centered as your mind becomes quieter and more receptive. And as you rest in this space, imagine a snow goose in a serene landscape, perhaps by a calm lake or in a snowy field. Notice the natural whiteness of its feathers, unaltered and effortlessly pure. And observe how the snow goose exists simply and beautifully, without the need to prove or change anything about itself. It is perfectly aligned with its nature. And now shift your focus inward and ask yourself, what qualities define my true nature? Consider the aspects of your personality and your spirit. Feel the aspects that feel most genuine and effortless. And visualize these qualities as light within you. Light that gets stronger and stronger as you become more connected with your true self. As each breath, you continue to glow brighter and brighter and more distinct. And now think about the times you have felt pressured to change or conform, to act differently than what you really truly feel inside. And visualize these as layers or masks that you've put over who you truly are, covering your light. And with each exhale, imagine yourself gently letting go of these layers, just as the snow goose shakes the water from its feathers when it returns to its natural state. And as you let go of those imposed layers, focus on the light that remains. That is your true self, your pure and unaltered self. And sit with this feeling of authenticity. And embrace the freedom and peace that comes from simply being yourself. Carry this sense of authenticity with you as you go about your day, reminding yourself that, like the snow goose, you need not do anything but simply be yourself. And now set an intention to maintain this connection to your authentic self, especially when you start to feel the pressures of the outside world. Remember the ease and beauty of the snow goose's existence as a guide for you to live authentically. And now gradually begin to bring your awareness back into the present moment, into the room, and wiggle your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, open your eyes and look forward to the rest of the day or the evening. Thank you. We are the Apple Pie Club.